Hello Neighbor is a pretty fun but very broken game, and nothing shows that more than the speedrun, so let's do it. Now we'll start our speedrun as soon as we get done with the first loading screen and we start a new game. Right away, all we really have to do is run down this road because we're chasing after our ball. We're also going to want to make sure we get a trash can and a trash lid, which will be used in just a bit, and we see our little neighbor. He tries to chase after us, chokes us, you know, just some normal neighborly stuff. Now after that, this is when we're going to do something really cool, and it's pretty much going to show how broken this game is right away, because we can use this trash can to give us extra leverage and get on top of our neighbor's roof. And then with that, we're going to aim ourselves very specifically so we can get into this window right away. Normally, if you've seen a regular playthrough of this, you have to do so many different things, but for us, we just kind of get to the end. Yeah, spoiler alert, that's going to happen throughout this entire speedrun, so be very ready for that. So within less than a minute, we are already into the basement. Yeah, one of the hardest things for YouTubers back 5 years ago, we did in less than a minute, so it feels pretty good. And we have a pretty cool strategy to get through the basement as well. Normally, you know, it's a spooky time, everything's super dark, but hey, we're speedrunning the game and we're not going to do anything the normal way. So what we want to do is use this light thing. I actually threw it in a bad way, but we want to get it to sit in a way to where we can use it to climb onto this wire, and then through that wire we can get to this generator. Once we press that button, it will open the door for us. So all we have to do is now do a little bit more platforming, go on this gate, and we can jump across this and then make it back over to the button. So that's pretty much basement 1 already done. Of course, the neighbor is then going to chase after us because he is very upset and probably really confused on how we did this so fast. And we have this little section where we're just running away from him, but there's not anything you can do. Once you get to this door, we just jump backwards because we're going to get caught by him regardless. And this puts us in Act 2. Now right away, what we're going to want to do is try to open the door and look through the keyhole, because then that's going to start all the things that need to happen. Someone's going to unlock the door for us. I'm not really sure who that is, but right away we can just get out of the basement. It's actually really easy. I don't know why he made it this easy to escape, but this is not as easy, because what we have to do is get out of his yard, and you can see he now has walls all around it. So what we're going to want to do is actually stack a couple of boxes and then also this tray so we can try to jump all the way to the end and make it to the trampoline. I failed it once in this run, but usually if I get it first or second try, I'm going to be okay with it. So I tried it one more time and I just barely made it over, and for some reason he has this trampoline. I'm not really sure why. So all we have to do is make it out of his yard, and that's going to be Act 2 done with. Now it's time to get to Act 3. In Act 3, we have now moved out into a different apartment. We pick up a letter which isn't there for some reason. Yeah, its hitbox is always there, even though you have to wait normally, so we can just take it right away. And that's going to be an eviction notice for our new apartment, so now we have to go back to the house. At least that's what my Twitch chat told me. Don't check me on if that's the actual lore. I would feel really bad if I mistook that. But we get a phone call, you know, some weird stuff happens. And once our loading screen is over, we hear a scream. So now the neighbor has his entire house back there again. Yeah, this is a really weird part of the game, especially because there is so much stuff with his house, but it's time to mess with him some more. And of course, that involves breaking his windows and then also breaking and entering. We want to break that window so he'll set a trap. Now we can go all the way around here. We'll see he's right by us. And as soon as he jumps away, we can now take his trap, which we're going to use for a couple more glitches. We'll take it all the way to this door, place it right there, open the trap, and then get caught in it. And what that does is it just lets us glitch through the door for some reason, so that's pretty cool. But what's not pretty cool is this section, my least favorite part of Hello Neighbor speedrunning. This section sucks because it is entirely RNG based, whether the hall monitor mannequin is going to be able to chase after you, and I almost was able to make it away and then I didn't. But as I was saying, all of these mannequins are RNG based, and you can just get really unlucky over and over again. That happened to me for so many runs, but thankfully I actually got this second try, which that's actually really good. First or second try is like pretty much good enough for a world record pace, because this thing can completely ruin your run. So what we want to do is once the hall monitor section is done, we'll escape to the locker, and we have to wait out while all these kids are running around. Also, yeah, I know this is a really weird section. I don't really understand it either. I'm pretty sure it's like childhood trauma, something like that. I don't really care. All I need to do is make it to this door, and then this mannequin is gonna show up. And yeah, this guy is kind of terrifying, but thankfully with this whole section, we learn how to push him. So we're going to be able to use this on the neighbor later, just like we use it on him right there. He just kind of falls over, and that's going to be another section done. Now, as soon as we get out of that loading screen, what we want to do is pick our trap back up. So I'm going to throw a box at it so it will curl up, and we're going to go and use this trap glitch another time. I can break through some more windows, even though he just fixed it. I kind of feel bad for the neighbor, but you got to do what you got to do. I'm trying to speedrun. And what I want to do is throw this trap at a very specific part of the wall, so it will glitch me into this doorway again, and we get back into his basement. Now, Act 3 basement is is easily the most frustrating part of the entire speedrun. And that is because of one extremely hard speedrun trick, which you're gonna see in just a second. What we wanna do is take one of these lights, and we can see the basement is not in the best condition, but what we need to do with this light is throw it right there so it glitches through the wall. And you can see it's kind of like angrily vibrating. Now, for some reason, how this game works is once you make it past this section, a gate will appear. So what we have to do, which is taking me way too long, is get past this light so the gate will appear, and then we can use a super jump, which is caused by the vibration of the light, and make it on top of the gate. But I did not get it first try, just barely. And hey, guess what? I also didn't get it second try. But on my third try, I'm finally able to show how you're able to do it, and we can get on top of this gate so the shadow monster isn't able to see us. This lets us skip a ton of the game, and it's just a really important skip. It just also has to be the hardest skip in the entire game, so that's a good time. But I will take a third try because that's still pretty good, and we only have a small part of the game left. What we have to do right here is position this chair and be able to jump over this gate. Now, it did take me a couple of tries, but I finally did get it, and we can go through this door. The neighbor tries to attack us, but thankfully we can push him now, and we can finally see what's in this room. Of course, we have this long corridor, but the neighbor isn't chasing after us this time. And once we make it to the ending door, there's no locks. And once we open it, we see that, yeah, that is such a weird room. Yep, we're on to easily the weirdest part about this game, the big neighbor part. So you can see our neighbor is kind of gigantic, and we're really small. And usually for this part, you have to solve a whole bunch of puzzles so you can get him down to his knees and you can make it to the house that's on his head. But instead of that, we have a different strategy. That's gonna start with throwing this basketball and missing the light switch. Okay, as I was saying, that's gonna start with throwing the basketball and yeah, missing the light switch again. But finally, I actually hit the light switch. That's actually like the easiest trick in the game. It's really pathetic that I missed it that many times. But now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this toaster to get a super jump all the way up to this umbrella that's over here. Don't ask me why we can trigger the toaster right there. It doesn't really make any sense, but it doesn't matter because we got the umbrella and now we can make it back down to the toaster. The umbrella, as you can see, it lets you fly, which, you know, doesn't really make too much sense, but does any of this game? So with this now, we're gonna wanna go into the toaster, jump a second time, so we get 2 bounces off of the toaster and we go super high. And we are way above the map at this point, so all we have to do is make sure we go far enough so we can make it to the house on the neighbor's back. Really lets you admire all this big furniture that's in the sky for some reason. Now, hitting this door is actually a lot scarier than it seems because the neighbor moves back and forth. He actually almost killed me right there, but we did make it into the door, and now all we have is the very last section of the speedrun. I go through this entire room, which is a really weird place, and we make it through another door. Now it's time to look at my own childhood trauma, because if you remember at the beginning of the game, the neighbor literally kidnapped me and hid me in his basement. Kinda messed up for like an 8-year-old child. So obviously my guy has a lot of trauma, and we're gonna be going through that right now. Also, yes, I am sitting on my kid's self's head right now and just kind of chilling here, so I don't have to walk. I can just sit on him forever. But once we look out the window, we see there is a gigantic scary monster, and our past self is very scared of that. And I would be too. This neighbor did a lot of bad things to ourselves. So we basically are a shadow, and we're trying to protect our younger self. So the scary monster is going to try to kill us. We have to step in front of it so it doesn't kill the child. Or I guess just scare him to death. I don't really know what's happening. This game's really weird. But one thing you might also notice as we go through this part is each and every time I protect the child, I grow. So we're now much bigger than we used to be, and I don't really know the purpose of that. But for some reason, that's a game mechanic, so I guess it's alright. I mean, look at this part, for example. We are so big that we can't make it past this part of the building without crouching. Yeah, does anyone actually know the lore behind why we get so big? Because I have no idea. It's just really weird. But we can save our wimpy kid self one more time and get a lot bigger. You know, it's just kind of some normal stuff. And we are almost at the end of the speedrun, which is also perfect time for me to give a big shout out to the Hello Neighbor speedrunning Discord. A lot of people came to my Twitch stream and sent me DMs explaining how to do different parts of this run. So many of the top level Hello Neighbor players really helped me out, and I really appreciate it. But finally, we can end off our speedrun as soon as we enter the green door, and there we go. That's our time. So our dude wakes up and realizes it was all just a dream, which is probably a good thing because that was actually terrifying. And I guess maybe now he's past his childhood trauma or something. I don't really know. But he's able to really start living his life without the constant threat of the neighbor over him. At least, again, I think that's what's happening. I don't really know. This game is so confusing. And if we look on speedrun.com, we'll see that while we didn't get the greatest place, we still did pretty good. I would have grinded out the game some more, but the mannequin room was completely destroying me. Yeah, that RNG hurts. But hey, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe.